This is 7 News High School Red Zone Review Preview.
Hi everybody and welcome aboard. So good to have you with us on WSPA.com and also on WSPA Plus as we get ready for week number 11 in the High School Red Zone Friday night, the final night of the regular season. Some key games will be at hand to decide region titles. One of those is going on right now as one of 5 ball games being played on this Thursday evening. We'll check in on how those games are progressing a little bit later on in the show. But as for last week's week number 10, well, it had a championship feel as the Dorman Cavaliers took the field at their home stadium, meeting up with the Gaffney Indians. Gaffney without a loss in Region 2-5A entering, but they knew the challenge would be tough against a stout Dorman defense. Todd Summers tells the story of this one.
Dorman playing host to rival Gaffney in a contest with huge region implications. Early second quarter, Banks Boughton gets the ball out quickly, but Jabez Thomas wrestles it away from the Indians wideout for the interception at midfield. And that sets up Nick Means as he takes the handoff, goes off the left side and races 19 yards for the score. Dorman up 10-0, Means 15th rushing touchdown of the season. Under 4 minutes to play in the first half, Dorman driving inside the red zone, but Meek Slidell's pass is a little high, and Gaffney's Kareem Shaw comes up with the interception to keep the Cavs out of the end zone. It's Slidell's first pick of the year. Final seconds of the first half, Ransom Farr connects on a 27-yard field goal, his second field goal of the half. Dorman up 13-0 at the break. Mid-third quarter, Indians on the move deep in Cavaliers territory. Banks Boughton fires to the end zone, but Tylen Edwards picks it off to keep Gaffney out of the end zone. Early fourth quarter, Boughton gets the ball out quickly, but Jabez Thomas makes an amazing diving interception, his second pick of the night and 7th of the season. Under 3 minutes to play, freshman Carter Nash goes straight ahead, hurdles a defender, sheds a tackle, and goes 20 yards for the game-clinching touchdown as Dorman shuts out Gaffney 20-0.
It's huge. I mean, we're down one of our best defensive linemen. Our guys have worked hard all week. We come out and we play our tails off here. Our guys played extremely hard up front. Linebackers played well. Secondary played well. Extremely proud of our defense the way it came out.
We just prepared all week. We were anticipating what they were going to do, and we just came out to execute it.
As we put ourselves in this situation next week, let's go win the hat.
And the Cavaliers can win a region title with a victory against Eastside next week. In Roebuck for the High School Red Zone, I'm Todd Summers.
So that game coming up tomorrow night at Eastside. Spartanburg and Burns also played last Friday. Key battle for postseason positioning. A banged-up Vikings team had no answer for Kane Rogers, Jacoby Fuller, and the Rebels. That gave them a 28-7 advantage in the third quarter. That connection. Trey Segura, he returned from injury, and as he usually is, was the story. 255 yards on 17 carries. He scored 4 touchdowns on the night. What a game it was for Segura, who helps lead Burns on to a dominant victory. Trenton Lynch, the great running back for Spartanburg, did not play in the game for the Vikings. And Burns rolling on to the win, an important one for them, 42-7.
I'm speechless right now. I thought we could win, but I didn't know it'd be like that. I mean, we just came out and dominated the game in all facets, except for one play. Defense played lights out last 2 weeks. Defense hasn't allowed a touchdown or a point. So, anytime you can do that defensively, you got a chance to be pretty good.
And that they were, and for Burns, they got to 4-2 in the region, 6-3 overall. They outgained the undermanned Vikings 537-84 in total yards. Other action in Region 2-5A last Friday, Boiling Springs and Riverside. This turned out to be an interesting ball game. The Bulldogs had won 9 out of 10 as they visited the Warriors on their home field. Gideon Murray was looking for an open man. Instead, he takes matters into his own hand, and at the mark in the third quarter, it cut Boiling Springs' lead to 13-7. Emery Logan later connecting with Jaden Samuel. Boiling Springs was up 20-7, but a turnover is forced. That led to a touchdown for Riverside, and the touchdown made it a 6-point game. Keon Knowles had it, and Riverside rallies for one of the few wins they've gotten against Boiling Springs in their series, 27-20 in overtime. What a huge victory it was for the Warriors, who got to 3-3 in the region and 4-5 overall. And Wade Hampton and Eastside, rivals getting together. Generals try to avoid a 23rd consecutive loss, but you can't turn it over, and James Coleman does early on. And Eastside's Caden Workman taking advantage of that. He falls on it. led to a Peyton Schrader touchdown, an early lead. Eastside rolls on to an 8th win in the last 9 meetings against the Generals from just down the street. 42-0 was the final score in that one. Region 3 3A, well, you got a Woodruff team that was looking to pretty much seal the deal in that region as they took on Chapman. Chapman coming in, having recently gotten their first win, had no answer for Aiden Gibson, one of the great running backs we have in the area. Just a junior. This nifty run set up another touchdown. And after Chapman had won 7 out of 8 in the series, the Wolverines have now won 3 of the past 4 as they knock off their rivals from the upper part of Spartanburg County 31-10. Woodruff improved to 8-1 and 3-0 as they get set to play at Union County and go unbeaten in region play, but they wrap up the #1 seed with that triumph. MVP, which had lost to Woodruff in its previous game, played its final regular season ball game, going at it against Broome. MVP had its 16-game regular season winning streak stopped in the contest against Woodruff. They were trying to start another one. Mac Anderson and Savion Booker get together on that touchdown, and Mountain View Prep was on its way to a second win in as many meetings with Broome. 55-12, they put up a big number. Broome had not been playing good defense. They went into that game allowing 34 points per contest. Region 2 4A, Daniel playing at Blue Ridge and looking to take one step closer to an outright region championship. Well, the Lions establishing things early as they are like to do. Kingston Bibb, he has been a really good weapon out of the backfield. That made it 7-0. Later on, Daniel's Kevin Jackson comes up with the interception, set up Jace Gross on a connection to Christian Chancellor. A great catch by Chancellor, and the Lions have won all 10 meetings against Blue Ridge. Gross going past 2,000 yards passing on the season as Daniel rose 66-21. Now they play Greer Friday night in the high school red zone. A win gives them the outright region championship. Seneca, its final game of the regular season, looking to win 9 out of 10. Their only loss coming against Daniel, and they were trying to make it 11 in a row in their series against Pickens as they visited the Blue Flame. Well, the great season continues for Gavin Toma and the weapons around him. That was Jack Webb on the receiving end. Toma later connecting with Webb again for a touchdown. And Toma later used his legs on a 50-yard sprint to pay dirt. And Seneca never looks back. They've gotten great work out of Toma, who's well over 2,000 yards passing and better than 30 touchdown tosses. And Amari Verner, their great running back, who's close to 2,000 yards on the year as Seneca cruised on to the 48-14 triumph over the Pickens Blue Flame. Meanwhile, Travelers Rest and Berea, longtime rivals, and T-Yard won 5 of the past 6, but Berea was trying to make it back-to-back wins, and that turnover, no, not good, as Berea was able to capitalize on it, and Jakari Brown able to scoop it. Later on, J.T. Porchard, his pass to Jacob Bryan for a T-Yard touchdown, a tight game, and in the end, Berea pulls it out. Back-to-back wins for the Bulldogs against the Double Dogs, 24-21. Over in Region 2 3A, Powdersville with a stranglehold on things as they took the field against Carolina. Carolina had not won a region game since 2015. Could they pull it? Would be a stunning upset. Caleb Gamble hooking up with Tavius Williams on that connection. But it forced a fumble was forced, and that led to Nasir Waldrop for Powdersville getting in the end zone, the early advantage for the Patriots. They clinched the top seed coming out of Region 2 3A. They will try to wrap up an unbeaten region run with their game coming up on Friday night against St. Joe's, and Carolina falls to 0-4 in the region as Powdersville makes it 8 straight wins against the Trojans, 42-0. Christchurch and Southside Christian. Southside Christian had yet to win a home game on the season as they took the field against one of their neighboring foes, but they were dominant in this game. Judd Wyndham has his pass intercepted by DJ Lee. Lee, a huge part of the story, hard running right there, and Max Bright punching it into the end zone for a 14-0 lead in the second quarter, and Southside Christian ending a 3-game skid against Christchurch with the victory, 31-0. Elsewhere in Region 2 3A last Friday, St. Joe's and Palmetto. St. Joe's playing without their top rusher, Mac Rambo, who may not be able to return this season. Jensen Geringer with the sack of Caleb Ricketts. Mason Rudolph trying to take up some of the slack for St. Joe's. That was a 12-yard run, led to a Sam Patterson touchdown, and St. Joe's getting a second straight win against Palmetto, 42-21. As we continue on the high school red zone review preview, in Region 1-5A, it was a battle between Hillcrest and the Red Raiders of Greenville, who would come out on top in a key game in the standings. That and more is just ahead. Last Friday and looking to go unbeaten in Region 1-2A and win another title, and that they do. That great running game, KJ Vance gave him an early 6-0 lead. Javen Cook, after the record-setting better than 330-yard performance against Landrum, had 142. Clinton built an early advantage. They roll to the 48-7 win. They are off this Friday, having gone 7-3. There are 3 losses to 2 really good 3A teams, Woodruff and Newberry, and a very good 4A team, Daniel, but keep an eye on them in the 2A postseason. Welcome back into the show. Well, last Friday began with 2 unbeaten teams in the area in the high school red zone. One of them, the BHP Bears, and with a win against visiting Pendleton, they would claim another Region 1-3A title, and Noah Thomas and Tajay Watson Martin front and center in that. That made it a 45-9 lead against the visiting Bulldogs. Belton Honeypath goes to 15-0 all time, and they've won 15 straight in the regular season, but 15-0 all time against Pendleton with that 52-22 victory. Ware Shoals, the other unbeaten as last Friday began. They made the trek all the way down to the western edge of Abbeville County. Calhoun Falls Charter, Region 1-1A battle, trying to continue their best start since 1988. Tyrell Cunningham with the touchdown for the Hornets, and Ware Shoals rolling on to the win to stay unbeaten, 40-12. That also set up a massive showdown coming up Friday night against Abbeville. Panthers looking to take care of business and win a 49th consecutive region game, a game against a region opponent. Darius Riley busts into the end zone against one of their county rivals, Dixie, which had given up 58 points to Ware Shoals. Well, Riley and others were running all over the place, and the defense wasn't bad either in that ball game for Abbeville. They cruise on to the victory, 55-7. So back-to-back games against nearby foes for Dixie, in which they gave up 55 points or more. So it sets the stage for the Friday night battle at Ware Shoals, the championship game in Region 1-1A. Abbeville, with all that tradition, trying to extend a decade of region championships and all those region wins in a row. Ware Shoals kind of a new kid on the block in this generation in terms of being a contender for a region championship. Here's Todd Summers again with a preview of that.
In the last 19 seasons as Abbeville head coach, Jamie Nichols has led the Panthers to 16 region titles, 13 of those coming in 2A and 3 others, including last season, in 1A.
This region championship is a climax of what you've worked for all year, and that's what your goal is.
Ware Shoals, meanwhile, hasn't won a region crown since 2013, although that's what's at stake Friday night when the 9-0 Hornets host mighty Abbeville.
We're fortunate and we feel blessed to have the opportunity to be able to play for a region championship. I don't think it's been done around here for over a dozen years or more.
We've been dreaming about it since the beginning of the season. We feel like we got a shot and we know it's going to be tough. We're our toughest opponent. They're good, and it's going to be an awesome game.
Abbeville hasn't lost a region game since 2015, and the Panthers will be seeking a 50th straight region win Friday night at Ware Shoals. While the odds are against the Hornets, Coach Dodson doesn't know any other way.
I like being the underdog. Ware Shoals has been the underdog ever since I've been here. I don't know that we can play any other way.
Last season, Abbeville beat Ware Shoals 69-6, although the Hornets are hoping a lot has changed over the last 364 days.
We embrace it. We just want to take on the challenge. We like challenges, and we want to prove ourselves as new Ware Shoals.
Anything you can wish for from 1A football. Abbeville versus Ware Shoals sold out 2 of the best teams in the state in 1A.
I respect it because they're good this year, so we just can't go over there to their house Friday thinking we're just going to beat them bad like we did last year.
See how that one plays out. Should be a good game, and Todd will have full coverage of that on the High School Red Zone on Channel 7 and the CW62. This was Hillcrest taking it to Greenville last week. Jackson Free was all over the place. First he went to his right, then his left. What looked like a tight game, couple of teams battling in the middle of Region 1-5A, but it was all Rams. They dominated. They made it 9 straight wins against Greenville in their series as they pulled away to the decisive victory. Hillcrest getting a 45-14 win for Bennett Swigert to get to 6-3 overall.
Defense came out and set the tone early tonight. They kept getting them off the field, and offense was able to run the ball, establish the run game, something we've been wanting to do in bigger games. We haven't been necessarily able to do that. Tonight, though, offensive line came out, did what they were supposed to do in the trenches, and the running backs ran the ball extremely well.
And when that happens, you're happy. So a Hillcrest team that, again, is solid. They're 4-2 in the region, but they'll have a high finish as they look forward to the postseason. And they have put up nearly 150 points over their past 3 games. Elsewhere in Region 1-5A last Friday, Easley, which is playing right now, went down to TL Hanna. Hanna trying to make it 8 straight in the series and a 13 straight win against a region foe. And Kayvon Cole sacking Josiah Coleman of the Green Wave. Later on, it's Connor Ash coming up with a sack. Another impressive defensive performance for a team that repeats as the region champs. Hanna with the win 31-14 as they knock off Easley. Greenwood, which is playing at Easley tonight, well, they were going at it against a 1-win JL man team last week, and they took matters into their own hands early. Trey Crawford on the touchdown. Greenwood avenging a loss a year ago, and they've now won 5 in a row ahead of steam for them. Their only loss this season was 1 point that they lost the game late at Hanna, and that's why they're not playing for a region title as they fell to Hanna, but have won all their games around that, and they rolled on 56-14. Woodmont and Malden in Region 1-5A. Woodmont trying to make it 4 straight after losing their first 12 to the Mavericks. Look at the new quarterback, Jack Criswell, who transferred over from Southside Christian. Zipped the pass in there to Frank Lewis. Set up a Bradley Crowell field goal. It cut the Malden lead to 28-6 at the break, but Taurus Thomason, weaving his way past defenders, gets to the house, and Malden, which had won just 1 game a couple of years ago and 2 last year, picked up a 4th one on the season, getting to 2-4 in the region as they moved on to a 49-13 win. Lawrence and Westside got together last Friday night in Region 1-4A, and Lawrence trying to come up with the unenviable task of stopping what has become a machine for Westside. Ever since their 0-4 start, their freshman quarterback Bear Woods and his fellow freshman Jai White have been a tough combo to contain. Woods looking to get his team close to the end zone, and eventually Keelan Powell pushed it in, and Westside moved on to another win. They won 5 out of 6 against Lawrence, 41-9. Wren and Southside in Region 1-4A last week. Wren trying to stay in line to set up that big meeting that's going on right now against Westside for a region crown. That was Aiden Moore with a short touchdown, and the Hurricanes handing Southside a 30th consecutive loss and a 5th straight shutout loss, 58-0. And also in Region 1-4A last Friday, it was Fountain Inn and Emerald doing battle, and Bo Height of the Vikings to Chris Dean for the touchdown. They had a 14-7 lead. It was a back and forth kind of game, and eventually Fountain Inn pulls it out. And what that means is that when Emerald plays at Lawrence on Friday night, winner of that game goes to the playoffs. The loser goes home. So costly loss at home for the Vikings, who fall 35-31. We showed you Clinton's win in Region 1-2A earlier to close out their regular season with the championship. Liberty and Landrum. And, well, those guys were slinging it around. The interception right there by Zane Smith of Liberty, trying to get to a 6th win on the year, clinched another winning season under Paul Sutherland. And then Smith, the touchdown run, and Liberty moved on to the win. That's 3 straight victories for the Red Devils against the Cardinals, who have now lost 5 in a row. Get your shirts on, young men. Well, it wasn't that cold, was it? And Crescent and Chesney, a non-region game. Tigers, a dangerous foe for anyone who runs into them. Eagles trying to bump them off at home. That was Cale Thrift with a touchdown for Chesney, but Mason Evans having a really good year, and he and the Crescent Tigers moved on to the victory, 45-36. Evans, the QB, leading his team to victory. We noted some games are going on tonight, and we will update you on those a little bit later on. When we come back in the high school red zone, we are going to have what folks wait for each and every week, our plays of the week. They're just ahead. Western North Carolina last Friday in the high school red zone. Western Highlands action hasn't been a great season for Polk County, but boy, did they bust out behind their star running back. Lorenzo Sanchez began the night with better than 1,350 rushing and 11 touchdowns, adding to his total with his 12th of the year there in an early 7-0 lead against Avery County. Sanchez, Los Angeles with another touchdown to make it 14-0. And Polk County moving on to the victory. They picked up their third of the year, their first in the conference. They get to 1-4 with a 68-21 win against visiting Avery County, and they have won 16 straight in the series. So on this week 11 of the high school red zone with Friday action in bulk, there are 5 games going on tonight. And among them, Westside jumped out to a 14-0 lead on Wren in a ball game for the Region 1-4A championship. Something to keep an eye on in that game. One of 2 outright region title games we have in which it's a winner-take-all situation. That one in Region 1-4A, and then coming up Friday night in Region 1-1A as Abbeville and Ware Shoals will do battle for that title, winner take all. Daniel and Greer, that's a case where if Greer gets the win, you'd have a 3-way tie for first. Tiebreakers would have to take place with Seneca, Greer, and Daniel. If Daniel beats Greer, well, they'd be the outright champs once again in Region 2-4A. And there are some other scenarios with other teams playing on Friday night that'll have an impact on playoff seeding for the weeks ahead. Let us close out this edition of the Review Preview with our plays of the week from week number 10. Play number 5, Noah Thomas of BHP to Jakiri Anderson, and he keeps his feet in for the touchdown. Pretty play right there. Thomas has really emerged as a solid quarterback, and the nice connection, you just need one in high school, and it went for play number 5 to Anderson. Play number 4, Gaffney and Dorman, that big-time battle really dominated by the Cavaliers and defense like that. Jabez Thomas, one of his 2 interceptions on the night. He has 7 on the season, and he does a little headstand on the back end of it. Makes the pick of Banks Boughton. One of the key plays for Dorman in getting that important win against Gaffney. Play number 3 from the Christchurch game against Southside Christian. Hampton Shields is the ball carrier for Christchurch. Aaron Gilliam, just kind of a drive-by for him, if you will. Sneaks right on by, gets the tackle for Southside Christian. They went on to a win. Play number 2 in Wade Hampton's game against Eastside. This early turnover proved to be critical. James Coleman with the fumble, and Caden Workman not only comes up with it, but a really nice return and a little flip on the end for play number 2. And play number 1. From that Dorman game, they've got a fine freshman, a legacy in their program, Carter Nash. His dad, Curtis, many years ago was a great player at Dorman, then at Wofford. Well, he was able to hurdle defenders and get into the end zone for the score in that Dorman win. And Carter Nash, just a freshman, gets play number 1. Coming up on Channel 7 Friday night at 11, High School Red Zone, 11:35 on the CW 62. Look forward to that. We'll see you then. For now, Pete Yanity, thanks for joining us, and so long.